We got a reminder on Sunday that the Orlando Magic are still a young team, how they took their test of maturity on Tuesday, today, on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is December 18th, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, how do the Orlando Magic respond to a game on Sunday that they were not happy with their effort? The test of maturity that the Magic took during practice on Tuesday and what that means for the team moving forward. We'll get to all that, plus a whole lot more coming up on today's episode of Locked On Magic. But before we do any of that, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first in the morning, whether it's right we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. You can now make Locked On Magic an even bigger part of your day with the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter, the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. The theme of yesterday's episode, when we began talking and thinking a little bit about the trade deadline, the theme of that episode was about the two paths the Magic are on and about how this Magic team is trying to win. We are measuring them in victories. We're not doing moral victories anymore. We're not saying, oh, that was a good try, great effort, guys. No, the Magic are in the fight for the 3 seed. They're trying to get home court advantage. They're trying eventually to win championships. So the Magic are judged and should be judged by their wins, by whether they win or lose these games. And so, yes, we have to ask ourselves, how does this team get better? But at the same time, we have to recognize that this is still a very young team. I believe the 6th youngest team in the league. A team that has one playoff appearance under their belt and is still trying to learn how to win games. And honestly, it is a credit to this team and their overall maturity that they've been so successful so far. That they look like a team that can win on their worst nights. Yes, I know it's the Charlotte Hornets, and I have a lot of respect for the Charlotte Hornets, but you may not. That win over Charlotte a couple weeks ago in Charlotte, gutsy win. We said it at the time. The Magic did not play well, and then their defense kept them in it, and then all of a sudden in the third quarter, or in the fourth quarter, they hit the gas and won the game. Professional win, that's what good teams do. And it has been a credit to this team that despite having one of the having a terrible offense, being the worst three-point shooting team in the league, more often than not, they still give themselves chances to win because they are so committed to their defense. That is not something that young teams do very much. And so Orlando has been tested over and over and over again this year. The injury to Paolo Banchero, now the injury to Franz Wagner, is only further testing this team's maturity and, frankly, their confidence that they can still win. It's all a huge test for this team. And Sunday night, they failed. Probably really for the first or second time this year. They failed. They were in the game. They gave themselves a chance. They fought hard. It's not an effort issue, but it's where that effort was directed. It's how the Magic let little frustrations build up and eventually take them down. How it was really, with how small the margin for error is for this team, how it was really just a 3-minute stretch in the second quarter that gave New York a sizable lead. And then frustrations with foul calls, frustrations with turnovers, just not paying attention to detail that cost them that game, that made it so they didn't have a chance to win. And at the end of the day, that's all we're asking for, especially against good teams, is give yourself a chance to win and have the confidence to go out and win it. We know this team has the confidence to go out and win it. They're still the best fourth quarter team in the league. They're still an excellent team in clutch situations. Even with all that they're missing, the Magic are still a tough out. A really tough out. And a team that, yes, can and should win games moving forward. Tuesday's practice, the Magic's first practice since Sunday's game, brought a little bit of an awakening. During the team's film session and film review, they looked at the tape and they saw they didn't play to their standard. They saw that as they suspected after the game on Sunday, as Mo Wagner said specifically, the Magic did not play their brand of basketball. They let their emotions get the better of them. They directed their energy and emotions into the wrong places. And that, as much as anything, cost them the game. Again, credit to the Knicks, shot making. They won the game. They frustrated the Magic into those mistakes. As much as anything else. Orlando was only 5 for 14 on wide open threes, according to NBA.com. That is a little bit fewer than what the Magic usually get. So the Magic were not playing well offensively. As Jalen Suggs said after Tuesday's game, it felt like they were just kind of floating through the game offensively. The movements weren't intense. The movements weren't intentional. The team just wasn't there for whatever reason. And so Tuesday's practice was a test of this team's maturity. How were they going to respond to this? Were they going to be able to call it out? Were they going to be able to talk to each other and say, this is what we need to still be successful? And at least, as the team told us, they were able to do this. Now, we'll find out Thursday against Oklahoma City whether that message sunk in. But this is the test. This is the great unknown about this Magic team. We know they are a devastating defensive group. We know they are one of the toughest teams out there. We know that they know and understand their identity. But we don't know, and we never know, how they handle this adversity. How they handle, everyone has a plan until they get punched. The Knicks have punched the Magic in the mouth twice. The Magic are, 4-7, 4-8 against teams with records above 500. 2 of those wins against the Suns, 1 on opening night against the Heat, and then the buzzer beater against the Lakers. The Magic still have a lot to prove against these elite teams. And guess what? Regardless of what you want to say about the travel coming from Las Vegas, one of them's coming into town on Thursday. Another one's coming into town on Monday in Boston. And then the Knicks are back in town next week too. The Magic have their work cut out for them. They always have. And now the Magic have to take this gut check. They have to take this punch and they have to figure themselves out. And again, all indications are that that was their approach Tuesday as they reviewed the film. As they looked at themselves, as they looked at what they can do. They certainly believe that they have taken that step forward. But now we got to see this team put it to work. It's been 2 games. It's unbelievable. It's been 3 games now. It's unbelievable. It's only been 3 games since Franz Wagner got hurt a week ago. And this team, like they did after Paolo got hurt, it's going to need a little time to configure themselves. But they know that the margin for error is much smaller now. They know that without their best players, they need everyone to step up. They need everyone to be more precise. And that had to be the message Tuesday in practice. This is still a young team. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to falter. They're going to need to figure it all out again. And this is the test now for the Magic. Because now they get a very good team probably a little angry after the way they lost that NBA Cup final to the Bucks, even though that game is not a regular season game. Now they've got to prove themselves all over again. And this is the ultimate test of the Magic's maturity. I think this Magic team has always been up for the challenge. They have not backed away from any issue that they've ever had. And they have usually come out swinging and come out flying. But you just don't know with young teams. Even ones like the Magic that clearly have a lot of talent. You know, I thought Jalen Suggs had the best line of the day when he said, we can hold each other accountable and say harsh truths about ourselves to each other because we expect so much from ourselves. Again, this Magic team wants to win. They know they are capable of winning at a very high level. They just haven't done it. Not year over year over year. And so the Magic are still out to prove themselves that they can do it. And that seemed to be what Tuesday's film session was about. The Magic are a mature team because of their defense, while the Magic are part of a trio of young teams, proving that defense is in around the league. It's our NBA Cup recap coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. It is the holiday season, and here in Orlando, it is a busy time for sports. The Magic are home for the rest of the year. For the rest of the month, the Magic are home. We got 6 more home games on this homestand still. The bowl games start Friday, the Cure Bowl. Jacksonville State taking on Ohio should be an excellent game. I'm really excited to watch it. I'm going to be watching it after I get home from Magic practice, followed by Florida and Tulane in the Gasparilla Bowl over in Tampa. We got the Pop-Tarts Bowl next Saturday. Really good game between Miami and Iowa State. And then, of course, the Citrus Bowl, South Carolina versus that team from Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. Game Time wants to make sure that you are together this holiday season at the big events. And so Game Time Picks is going to make sure that you get tickets for live events even easier. The Game Time Picks filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets, and you could get to the game that much quicker. There are so many great events here in Central Florida. This is truly the best time to be a sports fan in Orlando. There's so much going on. Just pick an event and go for it. Game Time Picks creation makes it easier to save money on sports, concert, comedy, theater, and more. Their all-in pricing feature, if you toggle that on, features the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. Their digital panoramic seat views let you know what the stage, field, court, whatever is going to look like before you buy the tickets. And with the Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by our friends at Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That has definitely happened to me. Even someone like me who checks their finances, checks the credit card statement every week. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for. And Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has more than 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. For me, one of the best features is that subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, this is the fun thing, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future, so there's no more stressing about budgeting every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. The NBA Cup is over. The Milwaukee Bucks are your NBA Cup champions, which I don't know how to feel about that. Like, I'm happy the Bucks won. I like legacy wins. It's good tip for Giannis. Damian Lillard winning an NBA-wide trophy for the first time in his career. I'm very happy about that too. I'm a big Dame Lillard fan, even though he's the reason the Magic were not in Vegas to begin with. It was a rough night for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we'll talk maybe a little bit more about them tomorrow, but it was a rough night for the Thunder. They did their best Magic impression, defending really, really well, but losing the three-point math by a mile and shooting the ball like they were the Orlando Magic. So I don't know what that means for Thursday's game. Really rough travel for Oklahoma City. They're on a ridiculously long road trip now because of this. They got a Florida back-to-back. So gonna be interesting to see how the Thunder look on Thursday. But I think what we should take from the NBA Cup is maybe a more global lesson. And look, you're listening to a Magic podcast. This is looked through with blue tinted glasses, with Magic tinted glasses. Last year, when the NBA Cup ended and the Indiana Pacers lost to the Los Angeles Lakers, I sat here and told you that this NBA Cup was great because it showed us young teams making their way onto the bigger stage. The Pacers were the team that got all the notoriety, and deservedly so, in that tournament. But the Magic were right there with them. And it felt very much, you go back a year ago, you very much felt like the Magic and Pacers had staked their claim to say, we are the future of the Eastern Conference. We are a future team to reckon with. Similarly, I look at the NBA Cup this year and the Magic advancing to the quarterfinals. And I see something relevant too. Let's start here. The top three, the conversation around the NBA right now nationally is frankly unproductive and frankly searching for a problem. There's a lot of conversation about the NBA, and Adam Silver addressed it, I believe, in his pre-game press conference before Tuesday's game. There's a lot of conversation. Yes, TV ratings are down, but the level of play in the NBA is as good as it's ever been. The talent level in the NBA is as good as it's ever been. The intensity of these games is as good as it's ever been. And the only people complaining about it are people that have a vendetta against the NBA, and there are a lot of people like that. And frankly, people who are nostalgic for bad basketball. I love the 90s and the 2000s as much as anybody, but we watched plenty of Tracy McGrady having to go isolating on one side of the floor and four players being stacked in. You still see sets like that occasionally, but isolation plays are the least efficient play in the NBA, in sports. The NBA wanted to increase scoring. They got rid of hand checking to increase scoring and create freedom of movement. That's been a great thing. The three-point line was already there. Players found ways to embrace it. The analytics age, yes, has brought a wave of three-point shooting and changed how we think about and value shots. But anyone arguing that the NBA is some uniform system where everybody plays the same, frankly, is not watching games. Because Giannis Antetokounmpo can't shoot threes. Nikola Jokic is his own thing. Luka Doncic is a heliocentric player, but his own thing. And then you have teams like the Magic, the Rockets, and the Thunder. Three teams that all advanced to the knockout round of the NBA Cup, two of them making it to Vegas, and the three top defensive teams in the league. Everyone is obsessing over three-point shooting and what that means for the league, and it's frankly, again, honestly, I think it's led by former players, especially Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley on TNT, who feel like the style of play that they played in the 90s is no longer valued. To which I would always say, look, you grow up playing the way the game was played. If Shaq grew up in today's NBA, he'd be Giannis. He'd be a better version of Giannis. If you go back, watch Magic Shaq, he was doing Giannis things. And he was an excellent low post player, which Giannis is okay at. But he hasn't had to be that. I'm not here discrediting Shaq, but I am saying if Shaq grew up in today's NBA, he would be a much different player, perhaps a better player. You grow up being the team that you grow up playing basketball the way it is played, and you try to twist and make it something new. That's where the league is at. And so as offenses have evolved and become more efficient, it's taken a while for defenses to figure it out. The Thunder, the Magic, and the Rockets represent the future of the league. And if the NBA Cup should say anything, it's that future is coming much quicker than anyone could have anticipated. Let's just take a look at the Magic. Third in the league in defensive rating. A team that leads the league in blocks is, I believe, third or fourth in the league in steals. Is fourth in the league in deflections, according to NBA.com's Hustle Stats. Is the leading team at defending the three-point line, of keeping teams from shooting threes. Don't care about percentage. They limit attempts. They chase teams off the three-point line. They're disruptive. They're athletic. They're long. They will switch 1 through 5. They're comfortable switching 1 through 4. They will switch 1 through 5 if they have to. And they have the size to keep matching up with you, even if they have to make that switch. This is a Magic team that is extremely disruptive on defense and has the 25th, number 25 offensive rating in the league. They're still 17-11. They're still fourth in the Eastern Conference now, tied on percentage points with the New York Knicks for third. They are still one of the most dynamic and dangerous teams in the league. They aren't the only ones. The Houston Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder are both very similar defensively. Switching 1 through 5, disrupting, hounding you, taking a lot of pride on defense. And that the Rockets, Magic, and Thunder are 3 of the youngest teams in the league suggests that defense is back. It may not look it because the scores are pretty high and there's a lot of three-point shooting still. But defense is back. Defenses have starting to figure this stuff out. Now, Boston is its own animal. Cleveland's been its own animal. There's still really sophisticated offenses out there. But if there is something we can learn from this NBA Cup, if there's something that we can learn from the NBA Cup, it's that defense still matters. And the teams that defend at a high level are the teams that are going to advance, are the teams that are going to perform well in the regular season, are the teams that are going to be tough outs. This Magic team is a tough out. They're more than a tough out. They're really good. And they're not going anywhere anytime soon. The Magic are taking a hit defensively right now because Franz Wagner's out. But Jalen Suggs and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope remain 2 of the best point-of-attack defenders in the league. Anthony Black and Jonathan Isaac remain defensive terrors. Goga Bitadze is an incredible shot blocker. There is just a wave of arms, a wave of intensity that comes from this Magic team. They play so hard. And that catches teams off guard for sure. But the Magic are more than capable of helping usher in a new era of defense. And frankly, more than anything else, and I think the NBA Cup final exemplified this because the Thunder did not play terrible defense. Milwaukee made some threes. Giannis did Giannis things. They still kept the Bucks to barely over 100, if I'm not mistaken. It was a 20-point game because the Oklahoma City couldn't shoot, which is the Magic's problem. Stop stealing our problem. Stop stealing our identity, Oklahoma City. We love you guys. Defense might very well be back in the NBA. And I think the Magic are very much a team at the forefront of how teams will defend moving forward, what teams will value to defend the new wave offenses that we're seeing. It's been a while. Let's give some injury updates. We'll talk about where certain Magic players are on their injury recoveries. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Over on FanDuel, they got great odds for the rest of the NBA season now that the NBA Cup is behind us. The Magic are currently 5.5-point underdogs against the Oklahoma City Thunder. We just talked about the defense. Over-under on that game is 211.5. 211.5 total score on that over-under for that game. If you're looking ahead to the NBA Finals, if that is something you want to do, the Magic are currently plus 3,200 to win the NBA championship. Not terrible odds. They are currently, let me pull it up here, plus 1,600 to win the Eastern Conference. Philadelphia still somehow plus 1,900. Short that thing if you can. The Magic are also still favored to win the Southeast Division at minus 165, but Miami Heat's sitting there at plus 230. So it's not a runaway for the Magic quite yet. They have so much, including NFL and obviously college football with the playoff this weekend. Just head over to FanDuel.com. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by Built. If you're a renter, listen up. This is a total game changer. Thanks to Built, you can now earn points on rent payments just like you do with groceries or travel. Paying rent now comes with serious perks, and it's completely free to join. Earn valuable Built points on your rent and everyday spending at no extra cost. Redeem points for flights, hotels, hotel stays, and even future rent payments. With over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels in their program, the possibilities are endless. Everyone loves using points for travel. Built makes it easy to turn your rent into rewards. If you're already paying rent, why not make it work for you a little bit? Start earning points on rent and your rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. Make sure to use our link so they know we sent you. Don't wait and start earning rewards today. Okay, we got some injury updates. We want to get to the big ones and just kind of deal with all of it as the Magic are slowly but surely getting healthier. The big news, obviously, if you missed it, Saturday we get to Magic practice, and we're walking through the doors at the Advent Hill Training Center, and who is out there taking very quiet, soft jumpers? Paolo Banchero. Now, I want to just note this. This is the first time that we've seen him publicly on the court doing things. We don't know, what that means, or, it seemed like a PR move for the Magic, just kind of giving us something to look at, some visible sign of his progress. And I want to just really stress this. It's still very light shooting. He wasn't running. He wasn't moving. He was kind of slowly walking into a spot at the elbow, receiving a pass and shooting it, making a lot of those jumpers, but shooting it, which is good. At least it's that. So there's no timetable yet for Paolo's return, but we did see him on the court doing something. Now, again, who knows what the ramp up process is like? He's, the thing with obliques is you really can't do much. So once he's cleared to start running, then he's got to build back his conditioning. Like, he might be on a bike. He might be doing something to get some conditioning. So it may not be that long before he's back in the fold, but I would say we're still, Christmas is ambitious. A week away is still pretty ambitious. Now, we didn't see him practicing or doing anything on Tuesday. He was kind of on the sideline, joking around with the football, which honestly probably has more twisting and would be, if he's throwing that thing, get it in his hand. He wasn't throwing it or anything. I would imagine throwing a football puts more strain on your oblique than shooting jumpers. But again, I think the important point is we saw some visible, tangible progress. Again, no sense of when he's going to come back. Franz Wagner was also spotted at Magic practice on Tuesday. I caught him going through the door to the imaging area of the Advent Health Training Center. The Magic didn't really say much about that. They just kind of said it was just routine imaging. So he's going to be reevaluated in 3 more weeks anyway. That's probably when we'll get a more official update. But I'm sure imaging is something common. They have a stand-up MRI machine, so it's not like he's going through the whole MRI rigmarole. But, again, I'd say that's a good sign. I mean, it's obviously you can't do anything but wait, and I'm sure Franz is eager to get back out there. Both Paolo and Franz were among the players that spoke up during the Magic's film session. They're both still very, very engaged with the team, still very engaged and talking to players and trying to stay involved with this group and make sure that they're still on the right track before they get back. The other big injury news, Gary Harris did practice with the team on Tuesday. Everything seems to be pointing in the direction of his return. He's missed a lot of time, like 8, 9, 10 games with a hamstring strain. The Magic have missed his shooting and his reliability, especially on defense. I know everyone likes to joke that he doesn't take a lot of shots. That's more of a Magic issue than a Gary issue. It's not his fault. He doesn't take a lot of shots. His game is reliant on other people setting him up. People yelled at me for saying the Magic need to get Gary more shots. And I'm like, no, they need to get him more shots because his field goal attempts are a product of the offense working, of the ball moving and finding an open shooter. If Gary's getting the ball, he is probably shooting it from beyond the arc. That is a good thing. We want that. He's an excellent three-point shooter. His presence will help the Magic make more threes. That would be a good thing. So it's a good sign that Gary's coming back. It does seem like he is on track to play on Thursday. So very good signs there. Honestly, again, without going full extent of things, and again, there's no formal update. It does seem like everybody who is out right now is making progress toward their return, is taking some concrete steps forward, and we'll see how long it takes for them to get back. I do expect Gary to play on Thursday. Paolo, I think Paolo is probably going to, again, wait till after Christmas. I think Christmas is a little ambitious. Don't think he'll be back for the Celtics game. The Knicks Heat doubleheader would be a tough one for him to come back, but not impossible. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but unlikely. That game against the Nets to close the homestand, that's probably going to be the target for now. Again, just New Year's Day or around New Year's Day. Otherwise, he may come back on the road trip, Detroit-Toronto road trip, or when the Magic get back from that road trip and continue on with their season. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Go find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all of them. We sell podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done listening to me, be sure to check out the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic. This has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.